Look at you, hacker. A pathetic creature of meat and bone, panting and sweating as you run through my corridors. How can you challenge a perfect, immortal machine?
Hello everyone, this is Rainy Day Let's Play. I'm Solon, and welcome to our Let's Play of System Shock 2.
In 2072, a rogue artificial intelligence known as Shodan lost her mind. In her limitless imagination, Shodan saw herself as a goddess, destined to inherit the Earth. That image was snuffed out by the hacker who created her.
So that is the plot to System Shock 1 in a nutshell, and this is taking place 42 years after that. I really don't know much about the original System Shock, as this is my first time playing System Shock 2. However, I can definitely put that together.
The day the magic happens. The Von Braun, the first starship in history capable of traveling at faster than light speed, will undertake her maiden voyage. This incredible journey is the result of teamwork between the UNN Protectorate and the incredible scientific minds at the newly relicensed Tri-Optimum Corporation. Imagine being able to travel to distant star systems in a period of weeks. It's all part of Tri-Op's commitment to the future. The Von Braun is packed with over 1.8 billion flight, scientific, and security.
So all of this exposition is basically just introducing us to what will be the setting for the game.
Providing security for the Von Braun as she plows through the heavens will be the UN.
And there's the other setting. So we'll have the Von Braun is the big ship, Rickenbacker is this little ship that kind of attaches onto it. We'll be navigating both of them throughout this game.
Is made possible by an intricate series of docking mechanisms that will allow the Rickenbacker to piggyback its
So this is all kind of just exposition, and a clever ad. If you've ever kind of watched any kind of sci-fi, super space sci-fi and like aliens kind of stuff, this kind of ad is just right at home. You can see that they take a lot of they take a lot of inspiration from the Alien series and 2001 assorted things. So that is the sound of the ship going down. Basically, everything is going to crap, and the clever thing is that they're not going to show you anything, they're going to make you listen, and that's kind of the cool part of how they designed that intro.
Welcome to the Ramsey Center UNN recruitment facility. Please watch your step when leaving the train. The grav shafts at the end of the hall will take you to the street-level training and recruitment
So
center.
all of a sudden we're 4 years earlier, which is a little bit alarming. Kind of all of a sudden we've been introduced to 3 different plots of different time periods, and this is like the third one. But nothing too complicated. The interesting thing about this area is that we are basically going in a straight line. There's the design of this early introduction is just one straight shot. They don't make you take any turns or anything to get to this point.
Before you choose your career, you'll want to learn some basic abilities. First, you should go into the basic training center. When you're done with basic training, proceed to the
Speaking of
advanced training area.
learning, this is... Again, I'm Solon, and I'm very happy to have you on Rainy Day Let's Play to watch System Shock 2. This is all the simple training stuff. It's really not a lot that you as a viewer will have to worry about, since it's going to be all...
Let's try it out. Move the mouse. See how it changes where you look? That means you're in shoot mode.
Coming from is that I'm coming to this game far from in the future of when it was made. This game came out in 1999 through Irrational Games and their publisher, and as this is my first time playing System Shock 2 after spending a lot of time working with BioShock, I see System Shock 2 as a proto-BioShock. And if you aren't familiar, System Shock 2 and BioShock are both made by Irrational Games, and they're both helmed by the exquisite Ken Levine, who is now releasing BioShock Infinite, which spurs this Let's Play into existence. So, between these 3 games, System Shock 2, BioShock, and BioShock Infinite, we have this really cool lineage, or a legacy. And we can see Ken Levine's designs of 1999, 2007, and 2013, respectively.
To drop an item, Drag it from your inventory into
I mean, we can already see a lot of these aesthetic cues. You can follow that line from System Shock 2 to BioShock, and hopefully into the future.
All usable items will have brackets around them. Highlight the button on the pillar and right
Even
click.
down to
This will
the
activate
idea
the
of
lift.
highlighting things with your cursor as objects and having cues show up right next to them.
If you can, the object
That's
before you
something
is a
very
red
similar to
icon.
BioShock.
Pick it up and then press
And you
tab
can
to
see that
go
we
into
just picked up
use
a medical hypo, a
Right-clicking on the
hypodermic
med
needle
hypo will
that
use
will
it
heal
and
us.
restore some needed hit points.
If we go into the
Your hit
menu
points
and
are
use it,
displayed by a bar in the lower left corner of your screen.
it heals us, and it's just
Many
like
objects in
what
your
happens in
inventory
BioShock.
Can be used by right-clicking on them.
Difference being that you don't go into a menu in BioShock, so that's like one core
See the crate in front of
game
you?
design
To
difference.
search it, center it on your screen and right-click. If you are in use mode, simply move the pointer to the crate and right-click. To take an item from that container, simply left-click on it. This will
So
automatically
part of
place that
why
item in
I'm
your
putting this Let's
inventory.
Play together,
To close the container
and especially
window
this is going to be
and
the
enter
episode
shoot
0,
mode,
since
press
it's
the
all
tab key.
kind of info and
One of
training
the most
stuff,
important tools you
all
have as a soldier
pre-main
is your
game,
PDA. This device stores
is that I
audio
want
logs,
to
emails,
kind of
and other
challenge
useful information.
this game.
Click on the disc icon
God,
near
it's
the bottom
really
of the
loud in
screen
this
to bring up the PDA
first part. They just
display.
jabber on forever.
Currently, the contents of your PDA are empty. Now pick up the audio log in front.
So I've got questions. I want to see what has changed in the last whatever years, basically between this game and the modern game design, I guess is a good way of putting it. What has stayed in between the series and through game design time? What are the main themes, and how do those kind of navigate throughout all of Ken Levine's series? I'm kind of using him as the point of origin. And so, even more than that, how has Levine stayed so relevant over the last 2 decades, while games themselves have like completely revolutionized, mostly past many other game designers? Your big name people of 1999 are not all the same as they are now. There's a few that have navigated in different ways, but Ken Levine has always delivered very similar, solid AAA experiences over 20 years, and I don't think any other developers can really say that in the same way.
Training and psionics training. Approach the Cyberlink booth of your choice to train in that area.
So, this separates us in a very classic role-playing game-esque scenario. We have guns, we have technical skills, and we have the magic science of psyops, the psychic energy kind of stuff.
You can equip the weapon in one of 2 ways. Bring up your inventory and drag the pistol to your weapons equip slot near the right-hand side of your inventory.
Note how they have about 3 or 4 directions for each of these.
Press 2.
They also have 100 hotkeys to go with all of those multiple step things.
Hit the R key or hit the reload button on the lower right corner.
So basically all of this training is finding the right keys to hit.
By pressing your left mouse button when in shoot mode. Notice how its health bar
Oh,
gets
poor
shorter
robot.
as you chip away at it.
That guy does not deserve what just happened. So, these are all questions that I want to approach with this Let's Play in some way or another, while also analyzing the game on its own merits and for what it's worth, as its own piece of gaming. And so that basically just means playing the game.
Weapons, batteries, you name it.
So now we have the laser pistol, which, as it looks like, you could see with the other gun how it had this kind of recoil, and recoil in this game meant that it would jump randomly to another point on the screen. Very kind of clever way to show how it jerks. It's like the reaction to your own action.
Your firearm is in. Green is good, red is bad. To fight the effects of wear and tear, a soldier with maintenance skill can use a maintenance tool to improve the condition of his weapon. Just pick up the tool, open your inventory, and drag the tool onto your pistol. Remember that maintenance tools are only good for a single use.
Recoil is kind of the thing that
Good work. Now
revolutionizes the first-person shooter in a lot of ways.
Before you enlist.
And so it's cool how you can get a laser pistol that doesn't have recoil, but at the cost of being a much weaker gun. And so you can fire it faster and more accurately, and then it also has its own ammo deposit. Yeah, you get a lot of checks and balance. This is our cash. Nanites are money. Not that they will tell you that, but nanites are used in a lot more than just buying and selling stuff, but that's pretty much most of what it is. We'll get nanites kind of all over the ground, basically, or on other people's bodies or corpses or whatever. Very much the same as one would in Bioshock. There you go, there's your hack option.
Text will appear indicating the difficulty of the hack and any bonuses that apply. Click on the Start button to begin hacking. You'll see a grid of nodes. Clicking on a node will either turn it bright or dark. To successfully hack, you must connect 3 bright nodes in a straight line. Beware the ice nodes with the red outlines. If one of these turns dark, you fail the hack, and you might break the item you're working on or worse. You can restart your hack attempt at any time by hitting the reset button, though you'll have to pay the nanite cost.
So I really don't understand the intrinsics of the hacking minigame, but basically 3 in a row and you're good. That's the entire game. It's another just classic, what is this? Not Infinity Ward.
You can use nanites to buy items from
classic Ken Levine and Irrational Games idea of hack things, and you want to hack everything. Another weird mini game put into their like games that indicates things are hacked. You can see this thing that I'm playing with right now is a replicator, which is just classic cyberpunk sci-fi rules, is that everything is digital, everything can be created and recreated down to the like atomic level or subatomic level. Like so. We'll just have 100 of these. For some reason they cost money, but that's kind of the cool part. But you saw the machine looks exactly the same as the Circus of Values in Bioshock.
There are several other technical skills you'll learn throughout the course of your career, such as repairing items and modifying weapons. The cyber interfaces for these tasks are similar to the hacking.
So now we have the third school of thought.
Try out the other training courses. They'll be useful.
Inside, you will learn how to reach out with your mind. Do not let fear block your path.
Basically, they have these kind of balanced and counterbalanced against each other as 3 different schools of thought, where you can think with your body, or with your cunning, or with your mind.
Psi points symbolize the current ability to use your psi powers. Psi hypos replenish
you can see psi hypo, once again, a hypodermic insertion that immediately fills up a psi gauge, which was exactly carried over in the exact same mechanic and the same system as in Bioshock.
And lets you project them into the real world. To equip it, pick it up, and then hit the tilde key. Firing the psi amp activates your currently selected psi discipline. You currently have access to 2 disciplines, cryokinesis and kinetic redirection. Go into use mode and click on the arrows on the bottom right of the screen.
So we can use cryokinesis, which is an attack. It is like a kind of ice-based attack. It doesn't do anything that means ice, it just does damage. And we also have the pulling thing, which will pull items to us.
And kinetic redirection to pull that nanite container towards you.
So we'll demonstrate that.
Holding down the mouse button can augment the power, but holding it down for too long will cause burnout, which will damage you. If you run out of psi points, use another psi.
But you can see how these systems that have been designed in the game, the psi energy systems and the all the like, are completely the same as in Bioshock. And so somehow, somewhere along this line, even though there's a almost 10-year gap between the 2 games, some of these parts of the design itself that are integral to Bioshock and integral to System Shock are the same, despite that they are different, despite their different eras of setting,
Here's where
despite that
you
they're
make your
different
choice, soldier.
genres
Here's where you
in
enlist
narrative.
one of the 3 branches in the military. Once you decide on your branch of service, there's
So now
no
we have
going
the
back.
overwhelming
The show will
choice
take you to a
of
UN orbital space station, where you'll receive
basically
a briefing
putting in
regarding your
stats
yearly posting.
to ourselves
Good luck.
through a single choice, the OSA, the Navy, or the Marines. And we have to basically choose whatever one we want to aim for. It doesn't mean anything as far as, like, if you go one way you can't do something else. It doesn't really restrict you as much as it helps you specialize, and it's a really cool way of kind of connecting with your character and connecting with the world around you, in that by making the choice of going into the Navy, we're also not making the choice of going into the specialized mind folk of OSS and the brutal Marines. So that's not just one choice that the players made, but actually 3.
Bay, sailor. It looks like you've picked up some standard weapon skills at basic on Coronado Island. Now it's time for your tour of duty. Your tour will consist of 4 postings over 4 years. In this man's Navy, you're given a choice of 3 different postings a year. It's up to you to decide what kind of career you want to have, so choose one.
So on top of choosing a branch of the military, we're also going to choose 3, there's going to be 3 or I think 4 times where we choose a, like, training specialization. And so we're going to choose a mission, kind of like choosing classes in college or something. And based on what classes we choose, we get specific boosts for that.
For volunteers for their military police detachment. Those sailors can get pretty rowdy on these year-long
This is
cruises,
very
so you better not be
paper
afraid of a
and
tussle.
pencil role-playing game inspired,
The Lucille is looking for an engineer's mate to help maintain the ship's core energy systems.
and not like
There's some heavy
new
lifting involved, sailor, but
4th edition D&D
the
stuff,
UN Lucille
more
is
like
looking for an
the
ops training
older
officer to learn the ship's navigation and data control systems. Get your feet
40K
wet with the high-tech
remakes
systems, but also expect
with
some heavy lifting.
where you can choose one path,
The UN Lucille is looking for an
and by
engineer's
choosing
mate.
that path, it'll limit you from choosing other paths, but it'll also give you more options down the road. And so we're going to choose to go into the military police, and that'll give us certain buffs, and it'll keep us from getting other buffs, but it's kind of like a give and take. So, your tour of duty aboard the UNN Lucille has concluded. You've spent a productive year, though you didn't make up a lot of friends. Between toughening up, putting drunken middies in the sickbay, you had plenty of downtime in the armory to play with the pretty toys. And so we gained +1 modify and +1 strength. I don't know what those mean yet, because I'm just playing this game. But I can assume that there's some kind of stats system, which is what we saw earlier, and there's some kind of modification thing that'll help me modify weapons, supposedly.
Well, maybe not as respected
So
as
this
the
shows
Marine
us
facility
we
at
can
Fort
get
Bush.
+2 standard
There's a lot to
weapons
be learned
from
here.
going down this route. We can get +1
The
maintenance,
UNN Pierce is ferrying liberated political prisoners back home from their detention near Saturn.
and it gives you a
Pierce
little
has been assigned
information
a
about
detachment of
what that
Marines
means.
And needs sailors to load, administer, and maintain the arms on
It's
board the
all
ship.
it's all flavoring. You can see that the system
The
underneath
UNN
that
Carfax
it
is
has been
undertaking a
designed
mission to examine
is
the
that
newly
you get
discovered
stuff,
Class B comet
but
approaching the outer solar
not
system.
only is this a clever
You'll likely
way
have
of
some useful
letting
skills
you
working
choose
with
your
the
own
high-tech
character and
navigation
design it
systems
your way,
aboard this newly commissioned
but
heavy
it also lets you hear kind of what place you are in. It really shows you the intensity of training. So your tour of duty aboard the UNN Carfax has concluded. It was a good year for you, but not a great one for the Carfax. After taking a surprise hit from a small meteorite that separated from the larger mass, the Carfax was forced to limp home with 123 casualties, including the chief navigation officer. You stepped in, filled his shoes, and by the end of the year you became quite skilled with the NeuroNav interface. So we gained +2 cyber affinity. Again, we don't really know what that is because we haven't really had a chance to play with these systems in the bigger way.
The Navy strongly encourages every
But
sailor
we
to
do get that
undertake some
flavor.
amount of zero-G training. A year at the Yamamoto space station in
So we can
Earth's
go in
orbit will more
zero
than
G
suffice.
training, which will help us with our agility.
The Navy maintains a survival training school on the surface of Io, the third moon of Jupiter. Pros: there's no better way to improve stamina and survival skills. Cons: the 21.2% mortality
That
rate.
would be pretty bad. Good for
The
endurance.
Navy's Marie Curie Research Facility on Aquinas 4 is currently conducting research on a new strain of spaceborne virus that killed 220,000 citizens of New Atlanta. To lift the quarantine, We must determine how the virus pierced the city's
Alright, so we're gonna go
micromanage.
get our 2 endurance, which still not sure what that means, but that's kind of the cool part about it, is that we get to basically play later, either suffer through our decisions, be like, oh, why didn't I do X? Or be like, oh, I'm so glad that I did Y before I left. And so it's basically exactly like school. Your tour of duty at the IO Survival Training Facility has concluded. You managed to survive your year there, barely. The encounter with a descendant of the Citadel Station Tiger mutant put you in the sickbay for a month. And so you've learned to respect the wonders of biogenetics and your body. Alright, so that's all 4 years. And so, so our 4th order will be to board the Rickenbacker as a soldier. So, this is the setup to System Shock 2. Thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you and when we start episode 1 of this series.